Hello, thank you for listening. This is the near-death experience of Jeff, and this experience occurred on August 7th of 2014 and was documented on February 11th, 2017. Open quote. There was light, but I could see no source of light. It was a light shade of gray. The atmosphere was clear, not cloudy. I noticed no borders or partitions. I did not feel weightless, nor did I feel the pull of gravity. I could see no other shapes or forms, yet I did not feel alone. I felt neither great joy nor great sadness. I did feel great peace. It was the kind of peace God talks about in the Bible, or the Hindu and Buddhists refer to in reference to Nibbana. The only way to reach this state is to remove all thought from the brain. In this altered state of consciousness, I saw everything in a different light. All the brainwashing from school and television vanished. It was like I could sense some source of energy. There are no words to describe it. Trying to describe the feeling would be like trying to describe a sunrise over the Grand Canyon to someone who has been blind all their life. There was also no sense of time nor space. When I came back to the real world, I was disappointed. This was my second NDE, the first one occurring March 4th, 1978, at the age of 19, resulting in me going to college and pharmacy school. I always considered myself very fortunate to be able to help others while making a living. Over the years, my wife and I have taken in the neighborhood of 20 stray dogs and 3 cats. End quote. There's some questions, and there's some questions and some good answers, I think. Let's see what we can find. Question. At the time of your experience, was there an associated life-threatening event? Answer, yes, surgery-related life-threatening event, but not clinical death. Hyponatremia, sodium level 105. Question. How do you consider the content of your experience? Answer, neither pleasant nor distressing. Question. How do you rate your highest level of consciousness? Answer, I was more conscious and alert than normal. I do not remember 14 hours prior to arriving at the hospital at 11:30 p.m. I was in ICU for 72 hours until my sodium level got to 120. There were 4 IV lines in both arms with up to 11 bags running simultaneously every 6 hours. Question, at what time during the experience were you at your highest level of consciousness or alertness? Answer, there was no sense of time, but my level of consciousness seemed to remain consistent throughout the experience. Question, were your senses more vivid than usual? Answer, incredibly more vivid. Comparing your vision? Answer, I was unconscious for at least 12 hours prior to my experience, probably longer. Question, did you seem to enter some other unearthly world? Answer, the place I was at was unearthly, yes. Mystical, possibly. I remember light gray with no defined source of light. There were no forms or beings, not even shadows present. I did sense a type of indescribable energy that put me at great peace and made look at everything in a new light, even after I came back. Most words with 2 syllables or more I had a hard time recalling initially. It was about 7 to 10 days before I was able to start speaking in complete sentences again. I still have a hard time with word recall, and my wife says I am a totally different person. Question, did you have a feeling of peace or pleasantness? Answer, incredible peace. Question, did you suddenly seem to understand everything? Answer, there are no words. Maybe I was blind and now I see, but even that does not approach what I felt. Question, the importance of religion, greatly important. A Protestant, have your religious practices changed? No. Religion is greatly important, and the same religion, Christian, Protestant. Question, did your experience include features consistent with your earthly beliefs? Answer, I do not know that I had any preconceived ideas about what death would be like. Based on this experience and what I have read about the experience of others, I think death will be like life, in that it will be different for everyone. I think it will make a great difference whether your heart or your brain stops functioning first. I know my heart was still beating. Question. Did you have a change in your values and beliefs because of your experience? Answer, yes. I will just leave it at yes and not go into detail. Question. During your experience, did you gain information about the meaning of life? Answer, yes. To help each other, to love each other, to waste as little as we can, and preserve as much of our planet as we can, to treat people and animals like you would want to be treated, and to disregard people who try to use religion, nationality, or patriotism to lead you towards anger, hatred, and war. Let God be the judge of who is right or wrong. Question. Do you believe in an afterlife after your experience? Answer. An afterlife definitely exists. Yes, the energy I felt, the peace, the knowledge, the comfort, I would have stayed given the option. Question. What life changes occurred in your life after the experience? Answer, large changes. I feel more comfortable with death. It's like we became friends. Question. Have your relationships changed specifically because of your experience? Answer, yes. My wife says I am not the same person. The first time I woke up into a relatively conscious state, I knew everything would be different from now on, and it has been. Question. Was the experience difficult to express in words? Answer. Yes. I kept a diary that I started after going to a regular room. I would get emotional writing in it. It is hard for me to describe, not because of the NDE, but due to the 96 hours leading up to it and the difficulties since. When we left the hospital, my wife was driving and cut the volume down on the music. There was a music stick in with 12 hours of music on it. When I turned the volume up, the song that was starting to play from the very first note was Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan and the band from Before the Flood. The version of the song was also meaningful to me. I had tears pouring out of my eyes the rest of the way home, and almost every time I hear it since. It is like God was still talking to me. Question. How accurately do you remember the experience in comparison with other life events that occurred around the same time as the experience? Answer. I remember it more accurately. I kept a diary, but most of my experience seems to stand out most of the time. I have had memory issues since this ordeal. There are some outstanding events I can remember for the most part most of the time. There are other events that I can remember when something triggers their memory, but they fade back out sometimes after a few hours, sometimes after a day or two. I can usually remember what I did yesterday, but most of what I did the day before. The third day out starts to get hazy, and usually the fourth day out, there's almost nothing. And then there are memories that just went away, which is an average week with my wife. We encounter 3 or 4 times. Question. Do you have any psychic or non-ordinary or other special gifts after your experience that you did not have before the experience? Answer, no. Question. Are there one or several parts of your experience that are especially meaningful or significant to you? Answer. The feeling of peace, the sense of energy that kept me from feeling alone. Question. Have you ever shared this experience with others? Answer. Yes. I shared it with my wife as soon as I was able to speak again, which was about 7 days later. I think it scared her, and she still acts like she feels uncomfortable discussing it. She felt uncomfortable about the surgery I had to start with. This happened on the 3rd trip back to the hospital due to complications. I was unconscious, and when I came to, I could not identify who she was or her relationship to me. At the time, I had known her for 29 years, and we had been married for 21 years. So it was a very scary deal for her, probably more so than me. Question. Did you have any knowledge of near-death experiences prior to your experience? Answer, yes. March 4th, 1978, I was grazed on the head by 40-foot, 400-pound steel beam that bounced one time and cut my fingertips off my left hand. It took approximately 60 stitches to see the corner of my head up. My skull was like if you took a hammer and hit a windshield, you would have a big depression where the hammer actually hit, but then you would have 5 or 6 cracks radiating out from that central depression for anywhere from 3 to 6 inches. Question: what did you believe about the reality of your experience shortly after it happened? Answer: experience was definitely real. I did not have enough brain functionality to dream. If you look at my blood work, my body was about to shut down. All of my electrolytes were off. My osmolalite, first taken on the second blood draw, was 2.15. Normal is 3.9. This is what causes the flow of electrons that make your heart beat. When a person gets this close to death, your brain loses the ability to form new images, so no dreaming. Question: what do you believe about the reality of experience now? Answer: experience was definitely real because it affected the way I think and act now, 30 months later. Dreams do not have that kind of effect. Question: is there anything else that you would like to add about your experience? Answer: I would tell everyone that deep down in their heart, they know what is right and what is wrong. Let that feeling be the driving force in the way you live your life, the way you teach your children. Do not take anything at face value. If you see reports that might alter the way you think before you trust that report, look at who put it out and who paid for it to be put out. End quote. End question. Great. Thank you, Jeff, for your story. I enjoyed reading it, and I think your comments on during your experience, did you gain information about the meaning of life, were awesome. Help each other, love each other, to waste as little as we can, and preserve as much of our planet as we can, to treat people and animals like you wanted to be treated, and to disregard people who try to use religion, nationality, or patriotism to lead you toward anger, hatred, and war. Have a great day.